He sits quietly, looking down at the papers before him, his glasses catching a glint of morning light. Then, the clerk calls the next case. Case number 247, James Holloway. A man slowly walks toward the stand. His clothes are wrinkled. His hair looks unwashed. His hands tremble slightly as he grips a folded ticket. The judge looks up, observing quietly, not judging, just seeing. Judge Caprio. Good morning, sir. How are you today? The man clears his throat. Defendant. I'm doing okay, Your Honor. His voice is soft, tired, like someone who hasn't spoken much in days. He looks around nervously, then lowers his eyes. Judge Caprio glances at the papers again. Judge Caprio. It says here you failed to pay a parking fine from 2 months ago. Is that correct? The man nods. Defendant. Yes, sir. Judge Caprio. And the total amount is $125. You didn't make the payment or appear earlier. Why is that? The man takes a deep breath. His fingers tighten on the ticket. The courtroom goes silent. Defendant, softly. Because, Your Honor, I had to choose between paying the fine and feeding my kids. Judge Caprio leans slightly forward, eyes kind but serious. Judge Caprio, how many children do you have? Defendant, 2, sir. A boy and a girl. Judge Caprio. And you're their only guardian? Defendant, yes. Their mother passed away last year. The man continues, voice trembling now. I lost my job not long after. I tried to keep things together, but we ended up sleeping in my car for a while. I do small jobs, fix things, clean places when people let me, but it's never enough. His words are plain, no excuses, no dramatics, just honesty that hurts. He holds up the ticket. I knew about this fine, sir, but when my son asked for food that night, I didn't have anything left. I looked at this paper and thought, it can wait. My kids can't. Judge Caprio, you said you've been living in your car? Defendant, yes, sir. I park behind a church most nights. They let me stay as long as I keep the area clean. Judge Caprio, and you're still trying to work? Defendant, every day I can. I just can't seem to catch up. A pause. The camera catches a tear forming in his eye. He quickly wipes it away. The clerk, seated nearby, suddenly lowers her pen. Even she can't stay detached anymore. Defendant, I'm not asking for sympathy, Your Honor. I know I broke the rule. I just didn't want my children to sleep hungry again. Judge Caprio, Mr. Holloway, let me ask you something. When you saw the ticket that day, what did you feel? He looks up thinking. Defendant, honestly, I felt angry. Not at the law, sir, but at myself. Angry that I couldn't even afford a simple mistake. Judge Caprio, you said you had to choose between paying the fine and feeding your kids. That's a decision no parent should ever have to make. Defendant, thank you, sir. A hush falls over the courtroom again. The man stands there, shoulders heavy, eyes red, but his voice never turns bitter. He doesn't beg, he doesn't justify, he just tells the truth. Then Judge Caprio folds his hands and speaks gently. Judge Caprio, Mr. Holloway, I've sat in this chair for many years, and I've seen all kinds of people. Some make excuses, some run from responsibility. But you came here today, not to escape punishment, but to face it. That tells me something about who you are. The man blinks, surprised. Judge Caprio, it tells me you're a father who refuses to quit, even when life gives you no mercy. Judge Caprio, you made a choice, and while it may not follow the law perfectly, it followed your heart. And in this courtroom, that still means something. The man exhales shakily, fighting back tears. He whispers, I didn't come here to ask for forgiveness, sir. I just wanted someone to hear me. Judge Caprio, well, I hear you, and I think everyone here does too. Judge Caprio, Mr. Holloway, we'll talk about the fine later. For now, I just want to say one thing. He pauses, looks the man in the eye. You didn't fail as a father. You succeeded in the hardest way possible. The man finally breaks. He bows his head, a single tear dropping onto the wooden floor. Judge Caprio takes a breath, sets the papers aside, and says softly, "We'll continue in a moment." Empty hands, heavy heart. The case continues. Judge Caprio, "Mr. Holloway, let's talk about your situation a little more. Where are your children now?" The man clears his throat, his voice still trembling. Defendant, "They're with a volunteer family, sir. A couple from the church. They've been kind to us." Judge Caprio, "How long have you been living this way?" Defendant, "About 9 months now." The judge leans back, thoughtful. The courtroom air feels heavy, the kind of silence where everyone is processing what they've just heard. Cut to a close-up of the man's hands, rough, calloused, gripping the edge of the podium. Defendant, "I used to have a steady job, Your Honor, construction. Then one day, the company folded. I tried everything, applied everywhere, but without an address, it's almost impossible to get hired." He lets out a faint, nervous laugh, the kind people give when life has taken too much. You can't fill out a form when you've got no home, no phone number, no place to rest your kids. Cut to Judge Caprio's face. He watches quietly, every word sinking in. Defendant, "So I started collecting scrap metal, cleaning lots for a few dollars. But when my little girl got sick last winter, I had to choose between her medicine or paying the fine." A faint gasp comes from the back of the courtroom. The camera finds a young woman in the audience, tears welling in her eyes. Judge Caprio, "Mr. Holloway, how old are your children?" Defendant, 8 and 5. Judge Caprio, "That's young, very young to go through something like this." The man nods slowly. Defendant, "I try not to let them see how hard it is, sir. I tell them it's like camping, sleeping in the car, washing up at gas stations. But they're smart, they know." Judge Caprio, "You said you sold your ring?" Defendant, "Yes, sir, my wife's. I kept it as long as I could. But last month, when the kids hadn't eaten in 2 days, I had to." He stops. His lips tremble, but he looks up bravely. Defendant, "I know she'd understand. She was the kindest soul I ever knew." The judge nods slowly, almost whispering. Judge Caprio, "I'm sure she would." Judge Caprio, "You know, Mr. Holloway, I've always said the law is meant to guide people, not crush them. Sometimes it forgets that there are hearts behind the rules." The man looks at him, eyes glistening. Defendant, "I never wanted to be here, Your Honor. I just didn't have another choice." Judge Caprio, "And yet, you came." The man blinks, confused. Judge Caprio, "You could have run. You could have ignored the notice, but you came here. You faced it. That takes courage." The man nods, a small tear sliding down his cheek. Defendant, "I teach my kids that we can't fix what we don't face, even when it hurts." The judge smiles faintly, a rare, genuine moment. Judge Caprio, "Your kids are lucky to have a father like you." Judge Caprio, "How much is the total fine again?" Clerk, $125, Your Honor." Judge Caprio, He leans back, thinking, then looks back at the man. Judge Caprio, "Mr. Holloway, I could enforce this fine, and by law, I'd be right. But sometimes, being right isn't the same as being just." The man listens, eyes wide, unsure where this is going. Judge Caprio, "When I was a kid, my father worked 2 jobs. There were days he came home with just enough to feed us, and nothing for himself. So when I see a man like you standing here, I don't just see a case number. I see a father doing what he must." The man nods slowly, tears flowing freely now. Defendant, "Thank you, Your Honor. That means more than you know." Judge Caprio, "I'm not dismissing your case yet, but I want to do something." He reaches into his drawer, pulls out an envelope, and hands it to the clerk. Judge Caprio, "Inside this envelope, I have something from the Caprio Compassion Fund. Donations from people who believe in second chances." Judge Caprio, "Mr. Holloway, we're going to cover your fine and give you a small grocery card to help your children this week." The man covers his mouth in shock. Tears spill down his cheeks. He can't speak. Defendant. I don't know what to say. Judge Caprio. You don't have to say anything. Just promise me one thing. Keep trying. Defendant. I will. I swear I will. Defendant. You don't know what this means to us. My little girl, she keeps asking when things will get better. Now I can tell her. Today they did. Judge Caprio. Sometimes, Mr. Holloway, the hardest battles we fight are the ones nobody sees. But today, everyone here saw your courage. Don't ever forget that. The man nods, still in disbelief. Defendant. God bless you, Your Honor. The price of survival isn't paid in money, but in love, courage, and hope. Judge Caprio, is there something else you'd like to say before we close your case, Mr. Holloway? The man hesitates, eyes glancing down at his worn shoes. Defendant. Yes, sir. I think I owe you and this court an apology. The judge tilts his head. Judge Caprio. An apology? Defendant. Yes, Your Honor. Not for the ticket, for what it took me to come here. Defendant. When my wife passed, something inside me broke. I stopped believing the world had any kindness left. I blamed everyone. My boss, the government, even strangers. I thought rules were just ways to keep poor people trapped. He pauses, swallowing hard. Defendant. I taught my son that too. Told him, son, this world isn't fair. You do what you have to do. But sitting here today, hearing you, hearing how you still see good in people like me, I realized I was wrong. Judge Caprio. Mr. Holloway, sometimes pain makes us build walls. You've been trying to survive behind yours. Defendant. I wanted to survive, yes, but I forgot to live. I forgot to teach my kids that there's still hope. He takes a shaky breath, looking straight at the judge now. Defendant. So, I'm sorry. For losing faith. For letting my anger speak louder than my heart. Judge Caprio. You know, son, I've seen many cases where people never admit they're wrong. But today, you did something most men never find the courage to do. You faced your reflection. Judge Caprio. That apology isn't just for this court. It's for your children. Because they'll remember the day their father chose honesty over pride. Defendant, quietly. I keep thinking about the night I got that ticket. My daughter was crying. She was hungry. I looked at the sign that said, "No parking," and thought, what's one more rule broken? I parked, ran inside the store, bought bread and milk with the last few dollars I had. When I came out, the ticket was already there. I cursed the officer, but now I know he was just doing his job. He looks down at the fine paper still in his hands. Defendant. Maybe this ticket wasn't punishment. Maybe it was a message that someone would finally listen. Judge Caprio. Sometimes life delivers its lessons through the smallest pieces of paper. The man gives a fragile laugh through tears. Defendant. You sound like my wife. She used to say, even pain has a purpose, James. I didn't understand her then, but I do now. Judge Caprio. Tell me something, Mr. Holloway. What would she say if she were standing here today? The man's voice cracks. Defendant. She'd tell me she's proud I finally stood up and told the truth. She'd thank you for reminding her children that kindness still exists. A pause. Only the ticking clock is heard. Judge Caprio. Then let's honor her. Let this moment be the start of something new. Judge Caprio. Your case will be recorded as dismissed. But more importantly, it will be remembered here. He taps his chest. As proof that justice and mercy can live in the same room. Mr. Holloway lowers his head, emotion flooding through him. Defendant. You've given me more than mercy, Your Honor. You've given me a reason to believe again. Judge Caprio smiles warmly. Judge Caprio. Then promise me this. When your life turns around, and it will, you'll help the next man who walks in your shoes. Defendant. I will. I swear it. Judge Caprio. Go home, Mr. Holloway. Tell your kids that today wasn't about a ticket. It was about finding hope again. Defendant. Your Honor, I'll never forget this day. Judge Caprio. Neither will I, son. Neither will I. Apologies heal the heart. Compassion restores the soul. Mr. Holloway stands before him, not as a man defeated by life, but as a father who just rediscovered his dignity. The judge looks down at the papers on his desk, the ticket, the fine, the official words that once defined guilt. Then, with a deep breath, he lifts his eyes. Judge Caprio. Mr. Holloway, what you've shared today isn't just your story. It's the story of every parent who's ever had to choose between survival and the rules, Judge Caprio, continuing. The law says you broke a rule, but justice isn't blind to humanity. And today, justice must listen to something higher, the voice of compassion. Judge Caprio, I've sat on this bench for decades. I've seen anger, arrogance, selfishness. But what I saw today was different. I saw a father, broken, but not beyond redemption. Judge Caprio, your children are lucky, Mr. Holloway, not because this court is forgiving your fine, but because today they saw their father take responsibility. That's worth more than any money. Mr. Holloway's eyes glisten. His lips tremble as he whispers, Defendant, thank you, Your Honor. I don't deserve your kindness. Judge Caprio, gently, no, son. You don't have to deserve it. That's what makes it mercy. Judge Caprio, you once said you thought the world had no kindness left, but kindness only disappears when we stop giving it. So here's my verdict. Judge Caprio, the court will dismiss your fine in full. You owe this city nothing, but you owe your children everything. Promise me you'll use that same strength you showed here today to rebuild your life. Mr. Holloway nods, tears streaming freely now. Defendant, I promise, Your Honor, I'll make them proud. Judge Caprio smiles, the kind of smile that carries both wisdom and pain. Judge Caprio, that's all this court ever wants. Not punishment, not payment, just growth. He turns slightly, addressing the courtroom audience. Judge Caprio, let this be a reminder to everyone watching. We never know what battles someone is fighting when they walk through these doors. Justice without compassion is just a machine, but justice with a heart, that's humanity. Judge Caprio, you may go now, Mr. Holloway. And remember, when life gives you another chance, take it with gratitude. The man places his hand over his heart. Defendant, I will, Your Honor. Thank you for seeing me, not as what I've done, but as who I'm trying to be. Daughter, tearfully, Daddy, are we okay now? Father, smiling, voice breaking. We're more than okay, sweetheart. We've got a fresh start. Judge Caprio, this bench has seen 1,000 cases, but it's moments like this that remind me. We're all just people, trying to do the best we can. In a world that often forgets kindness, Judge Caprio continues to prove that justice can heal, not just punish. Because sometimes, the greatest verdict isn't written in law books, it's written in the heart. Judge Caprio sits quietly in his chair after the courtroom empties. The echo of footsteps fades down the hallway. Papers are neatly stacked. The gavel rests untouched. But his eyes aren't on the documents. They're lost in thought. When the courtroom falls silent, that's when the real verdict begins, the one inside the heart. He looks down at the file labeled Holloway, James. He runs his fingers over it slowly, almost reverently. Judge Caprio. He didn't just win a case today. He found his way back to hope. He smiles faintly, then looks toward the empty seat where the man once stood. Judge Caprio. People think a judge's job is to uphold the law. And yes, that's true. But sometimes, the law needs a heart to guide it. Because justice without compassion is like a body without a soul. The rain has stopped completely. The sky is clear blue now. His son skips a few steps ahead, holding the ticket in his hand. Son, smiling. Can we keep it, Daddy? So we never forget today. Mr. Holloway kneels, smiling softly. Father, yes, son, we'll keep it. Because this paper isn't a fine anymore. It's a reminder. Daughter, a reminder of what? He looks at both of them, eyes gentle. Father, that even when the world seems cruel, there's still kindness out there. Judge Caprio, you see, every case that comes before me has a story. Some are about mistakes, some are about choices, but all of them are about people. People just trying to get through another day. He pauses, thoughtful. Judge Caprio. When I see someone struggling, I don't just see a lawbreaker. I see a life, one that might just need a little understanding. Because if we can't find room for mercy in our justice, then maybe it isn't justice at all. In a world that's quick to judge, slow to forgive, moments like this remind us what humanity truly means. Sometimes, a second chance isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Judge Caprio. Final words. Justice is not about making examples out of people. It's about reminding them, and ourselves, that kindness still has a place in this world. Their shadows stretch long across the street. The father carries both his kids' hands now, one on each side. Maybe we can't fix every broken rule. Maybe we can't save every broken heart. But we can choose to see the good in people, and that choice alone can change everything. Compassion doesn't erase justice, it completes it. Judge Frank Caprio. If this story touched your heart, share it. Because somewhere out there, another father, another mother, another soul on the edge of giving up, needs to be reminded that mercy still exists, and that justice, at its truest, begins with kindness.